why neuron damage is so difficult to repair. The nervous system is not like skin, bone, or muscle. When those tissues are injured, the body usually has some ability to repair them. A cut closes, a broken bone reconnect. But neurons are different, especially in the brain and spinal cord. Once damaged, recovery is much harder. That makes neuron regeneration an important area of neuroscience. It's not just about healing one injury, it's about asking if the nervous system can rebuild connections once thought permanently lost. Why the brain does not regenerate easily? The central nervous system has a very controlled environment. After injury, scar tissue forms, inflammation changes the area, and chemical signals block nerve regrowth. The body's protective response can sometimes create barriers to regeneration. This raises a question. What if the problem is not only the damage itself, but the environment around the damaged neuron? The difference between survival and regeneration. A neuron surviving injury is not the same as regenerating properly. Regeneration means the neuron grows back its axon, reconnects with the correct target, and works again. The brain is not just cells, it is a network. Regenerating neurons is about rebuilding communication. Why connections matter more than cells alone? Replacing a damaged neuron sounds like a solution, but a new neuron has to connect correctly. Wrong connections may not restore function or even create abnormal activity. That is why the future of neuron regeneration is not only about making neurons grow, it is about guiding growth with precision. Stem cells and the hope of replacement. Stem cells are one of the most discussed possibilities in nerve repair. In theory, stem cells could replace damaged neurons or support healing by releasing helpful growth signals. The real challenge is control. Scientists have to guide what the cells become, where they go, and how they connect safely. The FDA warns that regenerative medicine products require approval or clinical trial oversight before marketing. This matters because many unapproved stem cell claims move faster than the science itself. The problem with false hope? The future of neuron regeneration is exciting, but it also creates room for misinformation. People with serious neurological injuries may be desperate for options, making them vulnerable to unproven treatments. Regeneration research has real potential, but not every clinic claiming to heal nerves is supported by strong evidence. That distinction matters because oversimplifying the science can hurt people physically, emotionally, and financially. Gene therapy and growth signals. Another major direction is gene therapy. Scientists are exploring ways to change signals inside cells so damaged neurons become more capable of regrowth. If those genes can be controlled safely, neurons may become more regenerative than they normally are. But this approach is complicated because the nervous system depends on balance. Too much growth could be dangerous. Repair has to be controlled, not just stimulated. Why axon regrowth is a major challenge. Axons are the long projections neurons use to send signals. In spinal cord injury, axons may be cut or disrupted. Regrowing them is difficult because they have to travel long distances. It is almost like trying to rebuild a road system after an earthquake. Except the roads are microscopic. It is more like rebuilding a communication network, a situation that makes this feel real. Think about how difficult it is to relearn something after even a minor injury. Now imagine damage in the spinal cord or brain where the issue is not only muscle weakness, but disrupted signaling. The body may want to move, but the message cannot travel properly. That is why regenerating neurons feels so important. It is not just about repairing tissue. It is about restoring the pathway between intention and action. The role of biomaterials and scaffolds. One future strategy involves biomaterials, designed structures that help guide tissue repair. Scientists are studying scaffolds that could support axon growth, deliver growth factors, or create a more favorable environment. This idea feels almost mechanical at first, like building a bridge for neurons to cross. Electrical stimulation and neural activity. Electrical stimulation is another area of interest. Carefully controlled stimulation may help activate circuits, encourage plasticity, or support recovery after injury. Sometimes recovery may come from true regeneration, and sometimes it may come from the nervous system rerouting around damage. Neuroplasticity is part of the future too. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change its connections based on experience. Rehabilitation already uses this principle. Repeated practice can strengthen remaining pathways and help the brain adapt. The future may combine regeneration with plasticity-based therapies so that new or repaired connections are trained into useful circuits. Why different neuron types matter? Not all neurons are the same. A treatment that helps one type may not work for another. This is why neuron regeneration research cannot be one size fits. Repairing spinal cord injury may require a different strategy than treating Parkinson's disease. Stroke, damage, or optic nerve injury. The future will probably be more specific, not more general. The part that feels almost possible but not simple. What makes this field fascinating is that it sits between hope and limitation. Scientists are learning more about stem cells, gene editing, growth factors, biomaterials, and stimulation. At the same time, the nervous system remains one of the hardest systems to repair safely. That creates a strange feeling. The future seems closer than before, but still not simple. Regenerating damaged neurons is possible in pieces, but turning those pieces into reliable treatments is the hard part. Why safety will matter as much as innovation. Any future therapy for neuron regeneration has to be safe, precise, and proven. The nervous system controls movement, sensation, memory, mood, and basic body functions. A mistake can have serious consequences. That is why clinical trials, regulation, and careful testing matter. Speed without safety is not real progress. Final thoughts. The future of regenerating damaged neurons will probably not depend on one single breakthrough. It will likely come from combining several approaches: stem cells, gene therapy, biomaterials, electrical stimulation, and rehabilitation. The goal is not only to grow neurons, but to rebuild functional connections safely and accurately. Once you understand how complex neuron communication really is, regeneration becomes more than a medical dream. It becomes one of the hardest and most important challenges in neuroscience. Thanks for watching.